Hello, everyone. How are you doing? My name is Tom Harrop. I'm the founder of TJ Tutors, and today we're going to be working on another lesson, working on sentence structuring. Okay, so how to vary your sentences to make them interesting, make them exciting. This is great for 11 plus creative writing. This is also good for GCSE English language and any really kind of creative writing that you want to be kind of getting working on to improve your skill set. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to do, guys, we're going to have a little go at working on an improved version of this sentence. Okay, so I just want you to spend just a minute now working on an improved version of this sentence for me. Okay. Okay, let's see what everyone has got. Hopefully you've got something where you are mixing up the sentences, you're adding techniques, you're changing word types, even adding some extra details. So this is an example that I've got here. So the fierce snarling dog sank its sharp teeth into the helpless child's arm, a piercing scream shattering the silence. So here we've got adjectives, we've got the use of sensory language here. We've got an additional phrase at the end there. There's lots of different things that you can do to improve that and make that just a bit more interesting. Okay, so what we need to be thinking about is how we kind of start to construct our sentences. So a common way to start a sentence is by beginning this with the subject, so the person, the place, or the thing the sentence is about, followed by the action. So for example, you can start with the. I see so many pieces of writing that just have sentences that start with the all the time, you know, or you start with a name or you start with a pronoun, okay, and then you add the verb. So for example, in our previous example, we had the dog bit the child. Now, this structure gets very, very repetitive, okay, so just have a little look at this very short story that I've written here, okay. So the dog bit the child. Tom watched the dog. He began to run. He was trapped. The dog bit him. It hurt. Now, how could we say this differently? See if you can have a go now, just for a few minutes, having a go at trying to mix things up a little bit before we go into kind of some of the things we're going to work on today. How could you make that more interesting? I'll give you a few minutes to try and write down a few examples, okay? Okay, cool. Hopefully we've got a few varied, interesting sentences there. I'm going to show you some ways that we can make our writing a bit more interesting. But the first thing we've got to do here is you've got to create a simple sentence. Okay, so I just want you to start off writing down a simple sentence that has a subject and a verb. So the man ran, the woman jumped. Yeah, the dog bit the child, for example. Have a go at just writing down a simple sentence for me very quickly. Okay, hopefully you've got that. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to start to work on the following. We're going to start with an adverb before the verb. Now, for my example here, I could say the dog violently bit the child. So just spend a minute now for me working on trying to create a sentence where you've got your original sentence here and you're now going to add an adverb before that verb. Okay, hopefully we've got some interesting adverbs there. Now, the next sentence you can start with is using a different adverb. Put the adverb at the beginning of the sentence, so creating an adverb starter. Okay, now obviously with this, you need to make sure that you're getting that comma after the adverb because you've got to separate that fronted adverbial from the main clause. Okay, so just spend a moment trying to have a go at another sentence now with a different adverb where you put the adverb at the beginning as a starter. Okay, let's see what we've got there then. Now, the next thing we've got is changing the verb, okay? So in my example here, I've changed the verb to the dog mauled the child, okay? So have a little look at your sentence. Try and think of a way that you can change that verb to make it more interesting, create more imagery, excuse me, make it more exciting for the reader. Okay, cool. Now, next one we're going to think about is the past participle starter, or it's sometimes known as the ED starter. Okay, so you can start your sentence with a past participle verb. So in this example, I've got frenzied, comma, the dog bit the child. Now, again, with these starters, you've got to make sure that you've got that comma just after the fronted adverbial phrase, because you need to make sure that you separate that from the main clause. Okay, so try and have a go now thinking about a past tense verb that you could use at the beginning of your sentence just to make it a bit more interesting and to describe the situation or the feeling that the subject has. Okay, cool. Hopefully we've got some interesting ideas there. Now, next one we're going to think about is spatial prepositional phrase. So it sounds like really, really confusing. It's basically just using prepositions of space, so location. So you could say behind the curtain, comma, the dog bit the child, or in front of, between, underneath. Yeah, so you're just thinking about putting a prepositional phrase at the beginning, followed by the comma, never forget the comma, and then your original sentence. Let's see if you can try and have a go at doing that for me now. Okay, excellent. Now, the next one we're going to look at is subordinate clause starters. Okay, now you've often probably been told in school you can't start a sentence with because. You can, but it's got to be part of a complex sentence with the subordinate clause at the beginning, followed by the main clause. So you can have because it was scared, comma, the dog bit the child. Now, if you just put because it was scared, that wouldn't be a complete sentence. And that's why your teachers are telling you you can't put because at the beginning of the sentence, because you're often probably not writing a full proper sentence. Okay, you're just writing the subordinate clause of a sentence. So for this example, you have to make sure that you've got that original main clause after that subordinate clause. Again, separated by a comma to show the separation there. Okay, so try and have a go now thinking about a subordinate clause starter. Start with the reason and then give me the main clause once you've done that. Okay? Excellent. Right, now our next technique is a temporal prepositional phrase, so time. Okay, so before she could stop it, comma, the dog bit the child. So before, during, whilst, these different types of words are temporal prepositions. Try and make sure that you're putting a prepositional phrase with the temporal preposition at the beginning of it, at the beginning of the sentence, followed by the comma, then the main clause. Okay, so you've got things like before, during, whilst, after, those sort of words you can put at the beginning, and then you follow it on from there. Okay, so let's just try and have a go at doing that for me now. Okay, excellent. Now, two pair sentences. Okay, so this is two pairs of adjectives, so two expanded noun phrases within one sentence. For example, the vicious, dangerous dog bit the poor, innocent child. So you've got two pairs of adjectives there. Okay, so let's see if we can try and have a little go at this one now. Okay. Excellent. Right, now the next one we're going to work on is the boys sentence. So this stands for those coordinating conjunctions, but, or, yet. So this will just expand your sentence and give you just a bit more depth to the sentence. Okay, so the dog bit the child, but did not injure her. Okay, so you try and get a sentence now where you've got your original main clause at the beginning, your simple sentence at the beginning, then you've got a coordinating conjunction after that, followed by an additional piece of information. Okay, so the next one we're going to look at is the 3D ED sentence. 3 ED sentence is where you've got past tense. You've basically got the past participle, but you've got three of those past participle verbs. So for example, here you've got frightened, panicked, startled. The dog bit the child. So try now for me, guys, to try and get me 3 ED verbs that are continuing, one after the other, followed by that main clause. Okay? Okay, right. Now, the next one we're looking at and the final one we're going to look at is a simile opener. Okay, so you're familiar with similes, hopefully at this point. You can start your sentence with like. Okay, so for example, here we've got like a demonic beast, the dog bit the child. Okay, so rather than just starting with the dog bit the child, like a demonic beast, you're mixing things up. You're trying to switch around the different elements of the sentence. So that would just, again, add a little bit more depth, add a little bit more kind of variety to the sentences, okay? So let's get that last one now. Have a go at working on a simile opener for me, guys. Okay, cool. Right, so you've got here lots of different types of these sentences that you can start to work with. There's your examples again. You've also got here a little bit of a grid that you can start to kind of follow and go through. So you can pause the video at this point. You can write this down, copy this down if you want to. Go through, practice working on all these different types of sentences just to make it as interesting as you can. It's really important that you are trying to create as many versions of that sentence as you can. Try and always keep the original sentence each time to show the rule change. You don't want to be kind of throwing in all these different things every single time because it can get too complex, okay? So there's different ways you can do that there. Hopefully that's been useful, guys, and you've got something from the session today. Go back through the video, try and keep practicing working with these different types of sentences, and hopefully you're going to be well on your way to varying your sentence structures. Thanks so much for joining, guys. I've been Tom Harrop, founder of Teen Day Tutors. Hopefully you found that enjoyable and informative, and I will see you for your next lesson next week.